Oh, Lord. Welcome back. Welcome back. Welcome back. Okay, listen. I just had another unexpected pause when I'm supposed to be live. Okay, but that's how God does it. Okay. Oh, I'm supposed to be live at 6:30. However, I am here now. Okay. Welcome, welcome, welcome. Thank you for joining me tonight. Okay. So, as always, make sure when you come on, you drop down in the chat and tell me hello. Okay. You know your mama taught you better than that to speak, okay? Even if you come back and watch the replay, just drop down in the chat and say hello, and I will say hello back to you, okay? Whew, let me get it together, right? Because I wasn't expecting that an unexpected pause, interruption right before I went live, right? But guess what? That is how life is, and that is what the episode is tonight, right? So tonight we are talking about the reset because last week I did not go live. No, I did not. Not Monday because I was doing what? Working. And so we have been talking about each season what it requires of you, right? And so I gave y'all some different versions of yourself that maybe the Lord is trying to shape you into, right? And so we talked about those four. And guess what? I can't even find my notes to find the other two. So hopefully you remember what they were, right? So tonight we are going to be talking about just like a little quick reset, like unexpected pauses. Like, what do we do with it? What does it look like? How do we navigate through that, right? So last week I talked about, well, I'm saying I missed last week because I was working. And so one of the versions of me that we talked about that what God is doing is, I would say, rebranding, rebuilding, leadership, giving me a different role, right? So I am learning in the pause and the reset on how and what that looks like, right? So, how many times do we have things planned and then it go like, nope, not today? A lot. And how many times do we expect and want things, but we are not ready for the plan, right? We're not ready for what we're waiting on or what we're praying for, right? So we're going to talk about that tonight and what does it look like and how do we do better with that? Because listen, like I said, the version of me that God is requiring, it calls for me to have better structure, right? So I am a full-time entrepreneur and I am in the rebuilding stages of rebuilding my brand, right? And so I'm used to doing things a certain way. And in this season of my life, that is, God is requiring more of me, right? We've talked about that, right? When He gives you new levels and new seasons, that means He's requiring more of you. So, in order for Him to give you more and He's requiring more, means that we have to do more, right? And so, in this, even within this last week, the events that I've done, it was a lot because it stretched me and it pulled me out of my comfort zone, right? So, we all have been there, right? When we're used to doing something and then God stretches us to do something else, right? So in this season, He is stretching me to become more professional, to become more structured, to become more in line and in alignment with the things that He's doing for my life, right? So when we have this big dream and vision, or even when God gives us a dream or vision of the things that He has in store for us, we have to do our part. And our part requires us to structure and get things in order so that when He comes or when it happens, that we're already aligned in that era, right? And so, what does that look like for you? Take a moment and just reflect, like, what is it that I'm needing to rebuild or reshape or redo? And like I said, for me, it's structure in my business, which is very out of my comfort zone because I myself would say I'm not very computer savvy, right? So I like to get people to help me or to do everything for me, right? But in this season, God is requiring more of me. So I am been networking with different people to help me get to the level of branding that God wants for me, right? So it has been very strange because it is what unfamiliar territory, right? And so there's a song called Lord Enlarge My Territory, the prayer of Jabez. If you haven't heard the song, listen to the song. It's by Donald Lawrence, right? And in the song, he's just saying for God to enlarge your territory, right? So when I think of God enlarging my territory, I think of like new things, new people, new places that's coming. Well, along with that, when I actually Googled it to see what it really meant, so to enlarge your territory means unfamiliar territory, right? So that kind of scared me a little bit because I kept hearing those words, enlarge my territory. And when you get into unfamiliar territory, that is where God begins to stretch you and pull you out of your comfort zones, right? It is scary because you don't know. And, I've gotten to the place where I'm not just used to what I'm used to anymore. The Lord and dealt with me a long time about that planning and, modifying, adjusting. So it's easier for me, right? So we're gonna talk about real quick. So in my notes, the episode is the resets episode. We're gonna reset from what we missed on last week. Even this year, this year we came in with new plans that we're gonna do this better. We're gonna do this. Have you been sticking to what you've been saying you're gonna do on a reset? Well, for the most part, I have, but when you don't, because of whatever the reason is, a lot of times we be very hard on ourselves because we missed it or we didn't do what we were supposed to do this week. However, that was one of God's unplanned pause, right? So we just gonna roll with it and get back on track. So it talks about the pause you didn't plan for. What the gap revealed, was it exhaustion that you took that unplanned pause? Was it a shifting of priorities? Was it divine interruption or simply just life happening? What do you think? What was your unplanned pause? So, like I said, for mine, it was shifting my priorities. And because I like to stay consistent and do what God gives me to do, in which this podcast is one of the things. So I felt bad because I wasn't able to come on, but it's not like I was just not intended to. It was that my priorities had to shift, right? And so I was more hands on with projects that I had going on last week, and I couldn't get to sit down and do what I needed to do. So what did that tell me? That told me that I need to do better in prioritizing what I'm supposed to do and work around it because this is something that God gave me to do. So when God gives us something to do, we have to make sure that we are very intentional about what we're doing, right? And so which one of those applies to you in your pause, right? So we're going to normalize pause as part of the journey and not failure, okay? So it's not a failure when you can't do the things that you had planned. Sometimes it's God shifting you to do something else. Sometimes we have to get our priorities together. Sometimes it's just we're exhausted and we need to take a pause, and that's okay because your body gonna pause you whether you want to or not, right? So listen to it and take the pause sometime, okay? So, what is this season teaching you? Think about it. What is this season teaching me so far that I need to modify or adjust or to do? And like I said, this season is teaching Dina to be more hands on, to have more structure because the way life is going and the things that I desire and want business wise, in order for me to obtain it and to get to that point and to maintain it, I have to have structure. I can't just be fly by night like I used to be, just, oh yeah, I can do this, and just I'll just give a little notepad and go on about my business and go and do what I need to do. I can't do that anymore. So in order for me to do business on a level that I want to do business on, that calls for me having to have structure in my life to set my business up where it is taken serious and professional, okay? Because that's what I want to portray, right? So one of the big things, it was crazy because I'm in this group called Grameen of America, right? And it's for female entrepreneurs. And we were having a meeting last Monday. We were having a Galentine event. And I had signed up and I was going to do my website. Well, I got an opportunity from this lady that called me and wanted to do business with me and needed me to meet her on Tuesday to do a walkthrough with with her, give her a proposal on, what are my thoughts and plans for decorating for this gala, right? Well, on Monday, I was supposed to be at the doing my website, remember? But I chose to sit out the event to work on my proposal, to perfect my craft, to have my numbers and my vision in line, and to be in tune with what I got going on. And sometimes when God is calling you and requiring more of you, you have to step back from certain things, certain activities, certain places. I can't hang out today. I can't talk on the phone today. I can't just sit back and watch movies today. I need to prepare. I need to structure myself for where God is taking me, right? So I chose not to go to the event because I knew I needed to get my stuff in order, right? So I went, got my stuff in order, prepared for things I needed to do for an event I had that weekend as well. And so the next day, I was fresh, I was renewed, I was ready to go in and talk business with my notes. I felt professional. I felt like I was ready to conquer this. Got to the event, walked through with the lady, got, all the things that she was already saying was what? Already things that was in my notebook. So it was like it was already God lining up things, right? So once we finished the walkthrough and event, you know what the first thing she told me after we left out of her, y'all ain't gonna believe. She said, so I need you to get your things in order because wherever our logo is gonna be, your logo is gonna be. So I need you to have your website done in the next 30 days. I was like, what? Now, the Lord had already been on me about getting my stuff in order, and Dina didn't do it. And then when I did have the opportunity on Monday to go to the class, I didn't go. However, I feel like now that was a part of God's plan for me not to be at that event because He made a way for me the next day to call the same young lady that's in the group and that was doing the websites. And guess what? She said, because you are a part of the circle, I'm going to honor what I told the Grameen sisters on Monday, and I'm going to help you and go ahead and do your website. Now tell me that one God. God will put the right people in the right places for you when you are structured and you are in alignment with His will and His purpose for your life, right? So that was nobody that God that had that young lady still honor that what she gave them on Monday. And I'll have you know that from Thursday to officially on Sunday, inclusive touch. No, let me back that up. www.inclusive-touch.com is official website. Okay. Thank you. So for go there, check me out. Check out my new website that the Lord did. Why? Because I was in alignment with His will and He sent the right people. And on a side note, let me tell y'all this. This is the year for connections, divine connections, relationships, and kingdom marriages, right? This is what we call your light year, meaning you have done the work, and this is the year that God's going to honor the sacrifice and the work that you have put in, right? It's going to be easier this year. The doors are going to open, the connections are going to come, the relationships are going to happen. That's kingdom and that's naturally and spiritually, right? And kingdom marriages are gonna come. But are you ready? Are you in place? Have you reset your life that what you are praying for, if it showed up today, you are ready to receive it? Have you made space? Have you made room for it? If not, today is your day. I was talking to my friend girl earlier, and she is on the live, okay? Because I told her I had to hang up because she was all in my message for tonight, right? And we was talking about something that she had been that she desires and been praying for, right? And then she told on her own self, she said, but I'm really not ready for it because if it came, I wouldn't have room for it, right? So I said, well, how can you be ready? How can you pray for something and then you're not ready when it shows up? That's not how God operates, right? He's not gonna wait until you finally get ready to go ahead and send it when he sees that you're not preparing for it. So we always talk about being ready and stay ready so you ain't got to get ready and prepare for what you're praying for. So I challenged her to a 3-month challenge, and she has 3 months to get it together because we are believing God for something that is going to come this year. So guess what? We got to be prepared for it. So I told y'all this is the year. Kingdom marriages, divine relationships, partnerships, opportunities, and I'm telling you myself, they are coming. People have called me. I don't know them. The people who even referred them to me sent them, and they are coming. And even before I got on live, somebody sent me a message that somebody referred me to do their hair. The person who referred them, I ain't never did no services for them. So that is how God is operating. Let me tell y'all something. One of my affirmations in the morning that I say every morning is my name is being mentioned in a positive way in rooms that my feet have not entered. So you can borrow that. You can start saying that every day because what God has shown me this year, especially, is He is doing just that. So I'm gonna get that to you for free, right? So, like I said, what is this season teaching you? I just told you I was teaching me about structure and to get things in order. What is it teaching you? Jot that down so you can reflect on it tonight when you go to bed, okay? Now, I do have a couple that you can choose from. And it says, what is this season teaching you? Is it a lesson on time? How God slows you down to realign you? Hmm. Is it a lesson on capacity where you are recognizing when you are stretched and what needs to be adjusted? Is it a lesson on identity and how this season is shaping your voice, your boundaries, or your leadership? Is it a lesson on obedience? Even when you don't feel ready, the assignment is still yours. Okay. So you already know I put my little 2 marks by mine, and I'm going to give you what my 2 are. My first one is a lesson on capacity. God is stretching my capacity. You know, I've been comfortable in my little circles, but when He said there is more that I'm requiring of you, that's absolutely what He's doing. More people, more influences, more platforms, more positions, more leadership. Like all of that is being stretched to my capacity. So my prayer is, Lord, give me the capacity to steward what you are giving me. Because that is another thing that you need to pray and do, that you are a good steward of what He gives you, right? Because you got to be fruitful and multiply, right? What is it that you have that you are not being stretched to capacity with, that you need to be realigned with? Jot that down so you can talk about that to yourself tonight, okay? And my second was a lesson in identity. How this season is shaping my voice, my boundaries, and my leadership. Because I'm gonna tell you this, y'all might not think it or know it. I don't like talking in front of people, crowds, and things like that. I don't have to do that at all. I can talk to you all day long on the phone or in person, but like crowds, that is not my thing. But He is stretching my identity to be more structured and more aligned with who He is calling me to be. Not just normal Dina, but the Dina that God has been shaping and molding to be in leadership, to lead rooms, to be able to put things together with confidence, because that wasn't always me. So stretching that in my identity of not so much as who I am, but who God created me to be. You know, sometimes we try to shrink back because, well, no, I ain't that type of person. I don't like to do that things. God called you to be somebody great, to be somebody bold, to be His daughter or His son. And so guess what? You're gonna walk into them rooms, you're gonna sit at them tables, you're gonna talk at the meetings like God sent you there, okay? We ain't worried about man. We worry about what God's sending us, because God is sending us into room, into places this year that He's already ordained us. So what? That means get ready, be prepared, do the structuring. Do the homework. Get in order like me. It don't take a lot. All it takes is for you to be very intentional about what you're doing and how you're doing. I've been very intentional today on working. I ain't stroll Facebook or Instagram and all that stuff all day long. No, I've been at my desk working because God is requiring more. So that means I'm responsible for more. So make sure you write that down. Do a little journal. Put your timeline in order. Be more productive this year because what? Just like me, he is requiring more of you as well. So make sure you are in alignment. Make sure you are ready so that you can receive what you've been praying for, what you've been waiting for. That business opportunity, that new job, that kingdom spouse, that new house. Listen, I'm claiming my new house and all that kind of stuff because God said it. So guess what? It's going to come to pass. So make sure that you are very intentional about your time and you are very structured in what you are doing. And it's okay to do a reset, to take a pause, an unexpected pause. Don't get bent out of shape. Just listen and be in alignment with what God is telling you to do, is how He's telling you to move or to reshape or to whatever it is He's telling you to do, right? So, as always, that's all I got for you tonight. Oh, but I do have, hold on, let me use this, some reflective questions for you tonight, too. Something else to add to you tonight. And it's the same thing as we already been talking about, right? One is, what is this season teaching you? And where do you need a reset? It's okay to reset. And what have you been avoiding that's calling you back to do it? You know, a lot of times we sweep stuff under the rug that we don't really want to deal with. I know I need to go and get my truck cleaned and cleaned out and straighten my garage out, but I don't be want to do all that. But guess what? Gotta be in order. So when God calls me to do something else, I ain't gotta try to get ready and try to get all this stuff together. And people call me for orders and stuff, and I'm running to the store because I don't know what I got because my garage a mess. So guess what? When it get warm this week, that's on my list to go outside and get in order. Because what? He is stretching my capacity. He is requiring more of me and more structure of my life, right? And so the last one is to pause and do a check-in with yourself. Answer these questions on your little notepad or go back and watch the video and write it down so you can put your answers down, right? So that is all that I have for you tonight. I hope I have given you something that you can reflect on. Hope I've given you something to encourage you to keep it moving and to reset and do an unexpected pause, but keep it moving. And let's prepare for a great year. Listen, this year is going to be amazing, y'all. Before the end of this year, I'm expecting to see God do some amazing things, right? So this is the year of the Amos 9 and 13, where God is going to do things so fast that your head is going to swim. It's going to be one thing right on the heel of another. But in order for that to happen, you have to have structure. You have to be in alignment. And you have to be ready to move when God say move, right? The year of the Amos 9 and 13, and also the year of the suddenly. It's going to happen what? Out the blue. One thing right behind another. Remember, I told you on this day. Let me see, what's today? February 23rd. We're expecting God to do great things before 2027 come in, okay? So get in alignment with me. Let's get ready and prepare. Until next time.